Well, I gotta tell you, things have changed in the last few months, 6 years. Things, major changes. Can you hear the train? It's gone past all the crossings, so we probably won't hear any more of the horn no more. However, in September last year, it's April right now, my daughter's birthday just passed. Happy birthday, Jessie. Oh, look at these beautiful flowers. Let's just do this. I got myself a couple of lasers and a couple of CNC machines, as you know. We did videos on them, and since September, almost a year, 3/4 of a year, I've been using these machines, and well, I gotta say, they're not just paperweights on the shelf. They're being used. I have 2 of them at a friend's house, who's letting me use his shop for his table saw and other tools and all that jazz. And I'm letting him and his wife and his daughter use the laser and the CNC. They haven't really got into the CNC yet because it's a little bit more difficult. However, that's the point of this video. How hard is it to get into laser cutting for your model railroads? And why in the heck am I going to be changing the name of my channel? Number one, it's so easy to use a laser cutter that I taught my friends who are just basic lathe operators, or skill saw. They can hammer and nail, and they could drive it really good. But using a laser machine was a different story for them.
Ready?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the end pops up.
There we go. I'll hold it.
Tight enough though.
Yeah.
And then we go all the way down to my little niece Brookie and nephew Bryson, who watch me use these machines and are using them themselves now, which is awesome. And in all this time, because of my passion for teaching others, I found out really that this channel wasn't really about model railroads for me. It was more about models. It was more about wood models than anything. But more important than all, it was about sharing the knowledge. Because at the time I started this channel, there were a lot of rolling stock painters and people who did rolling stock graffiti and such, and they held their secrets so tight to the chest that I found it so disturbing. And I just I didn't have those skills, so I took the skills that I had and I made this channel. Well, this channel's changing now. We're into electronics now. Let's get into the shed and show. Laser cutters and CNCs in here, but we've got a piece of electronics now because we've found out that making these laser cutters and CNC machines are using the same pieces of electronics, which is awesome. Like a Raspberry Pi in one instance, or no, it's an is it an Arduino? I think I forget. But one of the CNC machines is using an SBC, a single board computer, and that's something that I've been geeking out on in private over the past, I majored in electronics in high school. It was the only class I got above 90s, so I like it. and space is my thing too. So we're changing the channel name. I have a couple of ideas. The Crafty Podcast. But anyways, let's get into the review. There is a review here. The Acmer P2 22 or 33 watt laser was a great surprise for me. Having used the other machines, I was able to see the various ways that these machines are constructed and how they used certain parts to make mass production of these machines cheaper for the user. And the Acmer P2 really doesn't cheap out on anything. And there's a few great examples of this. Specifically the linear bearing that runs along both sides of the y-axis. The x-axis has a roller bearing just like every other machine, but the y-axis has a bearing slider, as you can see here in the video. And this changes up our fidelity, our fine movements of the machine, because there is no play in the machined rail of these bearing rails. Like it's actually, like, after doing dozens of projects on these machines, I've found that zero doesn't always go back to zero. And that's a problem between these bearings, belts, and the limit switches. Sometimes the limit switches are just out of whack a little bit, and sometimes you have to bend them so that they bend just so that they touch the switch itself, so that when your bar comes and touches it, it hits the switch immediately. If that travel is 2 or 3 millimeters before it hits the button, well, your zero is not always going to be zeros, because sometimes it's going to push it back out, push your zero back out to like 1 0 XY kind of thing. So on my other machines, I had to actually change my 0 point to 3Y3X. Actually, I just should have done 3X0Y, because it was on the X that we always had the problem. However, the Acmer, I've never had that problem, and that's a huge thing. Wi-Fi abilities, if you've got an Android phone, you can control your Acmer P2. All in all, this machine really changed my life in a lot of ways. I was able to, using the tent provided by Acmer, it's an amazing thing. I was able to get my nieces and nephews involved with making projects and stuff like that. And I wish I could get them on this video right here. However, I haven't really got my sister's permission yet, and I don't want to do that without her permission.
Look at this. What? Oh, good job.
How easy was it? Was it easy?
Yes.
Yeah? Tell us how easy it was. What did you have to do?
Just paint on it and then water it.
Easy. I got cross all the T's and dot all the I's. I got lots of lots of blocks to hop off of, blocks to jump first. What we're doing is we got the shed. We're gonna call it the Tinkerer's Shed, or I don't know what we're gonna, Tinkerer's or Maker or Crafty shed. However, we're gonna do a podcast. It's called the Crafty Podcast, and I hope you check out Acmer, because they came out with an extension for this laser. This laser's the prices range between United States and Canada. There's about $100 difference kind of thing in the our exchange rate of the money and stuff like that. But it's a not a mid-range price machine, but it's at the top of the low priced models, and actually is probably the best one that there is, unless you made one yourself. The Acmer P2, the extension, the current size is about 15.5 inch square, or 300 millimeter by 320 millimeter. The extension kit will change it from 15.5 inch to 31 inch probably, I don't know. But I think it's a 600 millimeter Y extension, and that actually adds a lot of room for your projects. That's a big deal to get that extra 15 inch on your machine. It's a really big deal. So if you're actually interested in buying one of these projects, I suggest that you do get the tent if you have kids. Even if you don't have kids, it's really hard not to look at the light, especially if you got ADHD. Yeah, squirrel. Looking at the laser is really bad for your eyes. However, these machines are very quite capable, as I show in my previous video where we make a HO scale model, or it was an O scale model with brick, and it had like full-on 1 millimeter depth etchings on the brick, something that the other companies, they fly over because they don't want to spend too much money wasting time. They just want to pump out the kits at you. I'm not pumping kits out to anybody. This is for me, and this is for my family. And that's the reason why I'm changing the name of all this jazz. We've got a lot to learn in art, painting, glues, scenery, dioramas on this channel, electronics on this channel, all kinds of stuff. And now we have lasers, CNCs, and CNC lasers and CNC routers. And now we're going to get into Raspberry Pis, SP32s, and we got a Zima board at home. Oh my God, we got a Zima board. We're gonna get into a bunch of really geeky stuff. I might just call the channel Geek Channel. Just call it Geek. If it's not taken already, it might be done by the time you watch this. Anyways, I'm changing the channel. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. You're my best friends. You're my only friends. Bye.